He was born surrounded by guilt. He grew up under the shadow of God, renounced love, and confronted the church. Søren Kierkegaard turned his life into a trial, and not everyone survives that. This is his life, his legacy, his God, and his suffering. In a dark house in Copenhagen, on May 5, 1813, Søren Kierkegaard was born, the seventh child of a deeply religious and profoundly melancholic wool merchant. From his first breath, the child seemed marked by tragedy, as if life had not been given to him to be enjoyed, but to be understood. His father, Michael Pedersen Kierkegaard, was no ordinary man. He had grown up as a shepherd in absolute poverty, until a cruel twist of fate granted him a considerable inheritance that transformed him into one of the wealthiest men in Denmark. Yet wealth did nothing to heal his soul. Michael lived haunted by a sin committed in his youth. Standing on a desolate heath while tending sheep and starving, he had cursed God. He believed with absolute terror that this blasphemy had condemned his bloodline. He was convinced all his children would die young, and that divine punishment would manifest as a spiritual inheritance, a mark engraved upon each of them. 5 of his 7 children did indeed die before reaching adulthood. Some in infancy, others in youth, victims of nameless illnesses. Søren survived, but not unscathed. From early childhood, Søren was raised in an environment where faith was not a celebration, but a burden, almost a prison. He was subjected to an intellectual discipline far beyond his years. Latin, theology, and philosophy shaped his inner world long before it was normal. While other children played in the streets, Søren debated original sin with his father and read great thinkers as if searching for a consolation that family religion could not offer. His mother, Søren's datter Lund, was a quiet and humble woman with no formal education. Her presence in Søren's life was as silent as her disappearance. She barely appears in his writings, leading scholars to suspect that this absence conceals a wound deeper than history can fully explain. Yet more than religion or the death of his siblings, what marked Søren most was the spiritual conflict inherited directly from his father. The certainty that destiny existed and that this destiny was tragic. Kierkegaard would later write that from the beginning his life was hung like a painting in the chamber of suffering. A child raised under the shadow of an angry God and a father who believed himself condemned does not develop an optimistic view of the world. Søren became a keen observer of human misery. His sharp humor and precocious reflections impressed his teachers, but also unsettled them. Some said his eyes carried the gaze of an old man, as if he had already lived 100 lives and had only death left to encounter. While other children feared monsters, Søren feared divine judgment. While others dreamed of adventure, he dreamed of nothingness. From the start, his relationship with existence was uneasy, as if something inside him whispered that he did not fully belong to the world. That his role was to observe from the outside, to question, to dig relentlessly into the invisible. As a child, he began writing early reflections on biblical stories, especially the tale of Abraham and the sacrifice of Isaac, a theme that would haunt his adult work. How can a father raise a knife against his own son at God's command? And what kind of faith permits such an act? These were not abstract questions for young Søren. They were meditations on his own existence, his own father, and his own fate. One almost spectral scene defines this stage of his life. Each night, Søren and his father walked silently through their darkened house, mentally reciting biblical verses and passages from Luther. This was not a game or a teaching exercise. It was a ritual, penitential, and severe. My father taught me how to think like an old man, but he never taught me how to live, Søren would later confess. What should have been childhood became an early exile of the soul. Yet this grey and monastic upbringing did not destroy his sensitivity. It refined it. Kierkegaard developed an aesthetic sensibility as sharp as his theological thought. He loved music, especially Mozart, and it is said he could be moved to tears simply by listening to the overture of Don Giovanni. That opera, centered on desire, sin, and damnation, followed him throughout his life as a symbol of the human paradox. By the age of 12, he was already writing dialogues in the style of Socrates. His teachers remarked that Søren did not argue out of arrogance, but because ignorance caused him pain. A volatile mixture of intelligence, suffering, and pride that would never find easy refuge in the outside world. But the most disturbing element of this early stage, the one that would mark his entire work, was his experience of anguish. Not ordinary fear, not everyday anxiety, but a deep and paralyzing sensation of standing on the edge of an existential abyss. Kierkegaard did not need extreme experiences to know the vertigo of nothingness. Closing his eyes was enough. And so, in the midst of a silent, hyper-cultivated childhood filled with mourning and unanswered questions, Søren Kierkegaard entered adolescence as one descends into a cave, knowing that not everything found inside can ever be spoken aloud. At 17, in 1830, he entered the University of Copenhagen to study theology, fulfilling family expectations. But the moment he crossed its doors, something fractured within him. It was as if the young man who had absorbed Christianity as eternal dogma now began to tear into the foundations of everything he had inherited with philosophical ferocity. Instead of becoming a model theology student, Søren turned into a restless soul who spent more time in cafes, theaters, and solitary walks than in lecture halls. He frequented the Royal Theatre, losing himself in the tragedies of Shakespeare, while devouring the works of Greek philosophers, especially Socrates, who became his spiritual idol. Socrates had written nothing, yet with questions alone, he had shaken an entire city. Kierkegaard wanted the same. His rebellion was not vanity. It was the product of a brutal inner struggle. During this time, he began writing his private journals, a raw torrent of doubts, confessions, and inner wounds. There he admitted something that would define his entire life. I am not a human being, like others. I carry the burden of a sin I cannot speak of. That sin, never explicitly revealed, has been debated for decades. Some believe it referred to his father's blasphemy. Others suggest a guilt tied to desire, the body, and faith. What is certain is that Kierkegaard believed himself marked, and that mark made an ordinary life impossible. Outwardly, he could be witty and charming. In salons, he was known for his dark humor and eccentric clothing. Inwardly, he descended into despair. One decisive event sealed his destiny: the death of his father in 1838. Søren was 25. With his father's death came inheritance, but also freedom. No more excuses, only himself facing the world. That same year, he wrote a sentence that would echo throughout his work: "The most dangerous thing of all is to lose oneself. For if I lose myself, who will find me?" If you are finding value in this story, take a moment to subscribe, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. That small gesture helps this project continue and reach those who need it. He soon met Regine Olsen. For the first time, Kierkegaard believed love might redeem him. But fear returned. He broke the engagement, convinced that his suffering would destroy her. He sacrificed love in the name of what he believed was truth. From that wound emerged his greatest works: Either or, Fear and Trembling, The Concept of Anxiety. Works written under pseudonyms, as if his soul was split into multiple voices. Fear and Trembling explored the story of Abraham not as moral heroism, but as spiritual madness. Faith as the willingness to stand alone before God. Faith as terror. Kierkegaard did not write to comfort. He wrote to awaken. His war with the church intensified. He accused institutional Christianity of betraying Christ. In Denmark he wrote, "Everyone is Christian, and therefore no one truly is." He became a public enemy, mocked, isolated, abandoned. Yet he continued, convinced that truth mattered more than happiness, more than love, more than life. His health deteriorated. His body weakened. Yet his writing burned brighter. In 1855, he collapsed in the streets of Copenhagen and was taken to Frederick's Hospital. He refused the sacraments. He refused reconciliations with the church. "My relationship is with Christ, not with your institution," he said. On November 11th, 1855, at the age of 42, Søren Kierkegaard. No grand funeral. No honors. Only silence. And yet, his voice did not fade. It grew. After his death, the world he had disturbed slowly caught up to him. After war's collapse and despair, his words found their moment. He became the invisible foundation of existentialism, influencing Sartre, Heidegger, Kafka, Camus, theologians, artists, and thinkers across generations. He had written from the abyss, and the world finally recognized the abyss as its own. Kierkegaard did not found a school. He left no disciples. He left something stronger, a demand that each individual face existence alone, that faith be risked, not inherited, that despair is not weakness, but awakening. If this story has resonated with you, subscribe, activate notifications, and leave a comment below. Tell us what part of Kierkegaard's life struck you most, or who you would like to explore next. Your support allows us to keep creating stories that matter. Thank you for being here.